Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to another video. So yes, it's been a while since I've last uploaded a video. I haven't uploaded actually anything after the uh, V equals S divided by T formula. So here I'm back with another video. As you can see, I have got the color changing background. In this video is going to be an explanation video. Unfortunately, it's not going to be explaining something interesting, encouraging, like science, or maybe doing an experiment, because today we're not explaining something like racism that's so sensitive, but we're also talking on a kind of a sensitive topic, and that is COVID-19. So I'm pretty sure each one of you knows what COVID-19 is. COVID-19 is usually a virus from the group SARS-CoV, and it usually attacks mammals and birds, but it used to attack mammals and birds before the 31st of December of 2019. We're now in a world pandemic since March 10th. In some countries even earlier, in some countries later, but what we need to know is that we're currently in a pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. It not only attacks mammals and birds, but also it's killed about 1 million people, and another millions and millions of people are infected. And not only that, the people are getting infected and their health is in risk, the economy is in risk. Schools closed. Now, back in the start of the pandemic, the markets barely worked. There were no customers. It was a complete chaos. The economy absolutely got obliterated over there. The economy fell down, and it's gonna take so much for it to grow back to normal. I mean, just look. Go to school. No, you cannot go to school. You can go to school through Microsoft Teams, Google Classroom, or Zoom. There is no school. It's making the life difficult. It's not only the virus, the danger itself that is spreading and killing the life of the people, but even negative people struggle. I struggle with online school. It's not as easy. It hurts my eyes standing in front of a screen for more than 3 hours a day, and plus that, I don't understand as much as I understand while being there physically, while being in the classroom. So not only that the virus is dangerous, it's also even negative people, even healthy people are struggling from everyday things. You do not go to school, you have to wear a mask. Do you? Yes. We're gonna talk about that problem later, because there is also a problem with wearing masks. So yes, as I said, it is a very dangerous virus and we must protect ourselves. What do you need to know about COVID-19 is that it's a virus that attacks mammals and birds, but it also attacks people, and it already formed a pandemic with over 40 million people infected. About 30 millions are healed, about 10 millions active, and unfortunately 1 million deaths. Can you imagine? Because somebody ate a bad soup, 1 million people died, but that's not the bad soup problem. It's not that guy's fault. So how can you protect yourself from this virus? That is actually a really good question, and I've eventually come up with an answer. You already know the answer. Sanitize your hands often. Try to get into saunas, take warm and very hot showers in order to kill the bacteria, because COVID-19 dies if the temperature where it is over 25 degrees Celsius. So go into warm or hot places in order to kill the virus. Wash your hands with warm water and soap frequently. And most important one, wear a mask in public, social distance, and be responsible. So yes, we already know the rules about COVID-19 and how can you protect. But the question is, are these rules getting respect? Do people actually respect the rules? Some of them do, but a lot of them form a union. The anti-mask protests. They blame the government. They blame that the government makes them wear masks, and even come up with excuses like, if you wear a mask, your oxygen cells will die and you'll get cancer in 2 days. People, are you for real? Do not talk biology if you don't know a single thing about it? How can a flipping mask kill your cells? Is your mask locked by a lock? Is your mask something like a gas mask? Is your mask lacking oxygen? Or are you living on Mars? So there's only 3% of oxygen in the atmosphere. Or a mask is a piece of cotton that costs about $1, sold in every pharmacy, in every market, and it's even easy to breathe in it. I can wear a mask up to 24 hours non-stop. It's easy to breathe through a mask. It's just a few layers of cotton over your mouth and your nose, allowing you to breathe. Just that the particles you produce are produced internally, and they aren't in a trade or very little trade with the outside world, aka the cells you breathe out don't touch other people or other things. They just come back right into yourself. People like complaining. They love complaining about COVID-19, and there's even a protest anti-masks. Take them off. Wearing a mask is a scam. The government is lying you. Well, and also many people do not take this virus seriously. They don't. They think it's just one type of a common flu or eventually a fever. Well, it's not. If it was a common flu or a fever, it wouldn't have gotten over 40 million cases and over 1 million deaths. If it was just one common flu, just like the Spanish flu that hit in 1980, killing 50 million people. It's a pandemic. Wake up, for heaven's sake. If this was a common flu, it would have just lasted for about a week. There wouldn't have been pandemics. There wouldn't have been any rules to wear a mask, to sanitize your hands, or to social distance. Schools wouldn't have been closed down, and there wasn't going to be a police hour, aka times of the day where you aren't allowed to go out if it was just a common flu. Do you understand what I say? This is not a common flu. This is not just a small fever. This is not other lighter or maybe a harder type of a virus. This is a freaking pandemic. Understand that. It's not a flu. Look, I'm not telling you to be scared of the virus. I am just telling you to be aware of it. To be aware that the virus can kill you. To be aware that if you catch the virus, you are going to have to be breathing for about 2 to 3 weeks constantly on a lung machine, which means the machine will breathe for you. You will breathe with the rhythm of the lung machine. You wouldn't be able to tell if it hurts you, how you feel to eat or to drink because you are totally incompetent and the machine is breathing for you. You are relying on a lung machine, and all of that wouldn't have happened if you just were aware of this and if you just wore a piece of cotton over your nose and over your mouth. For starters, a respiratory machine is not something where the patient sits on a bed while he or she reads a newspaper on a hospital bed. As I said, they will give you anesthesia, a lot of painkillers, and after that, even if you survive, your elders, your mother, your father, your grandparents, you wouldn't. There are too many complications. You will end up with a long trauma after having legit plastic tubes inside your lungs. You will lose your muscle mass. So if you were 50 kg, you will be about 30. You will feel weak and you will have breathing difficulties even after you survive the virus. As somebody once said, if you throw a needle into a fence, you can get the needle out, but the mark that the needle will leave will always stay there. Yes, this is a real thing. You put the nail to the fence, you can take it out, but the nail will leave with a small like hole. Just like the same thing is with coronavirus. You will survive. You will survive through the anesthesias, through the lung machines, through the painkillers, through everything, but the holes will never get filled up. You will never get rid of the lung trauma. You will never stop having breathing difficulties. You will never gain that muscle mass even if you were a bodybuilder. You would never fill up those holes. I'm not telling you once again to be scared of the virus or to wear a mask constantly. I am just telling you to be aware of it and to use your brain for a little bit more than you do, because this is not a common flu. This is a pandemic. And I have a message as well to all the anti-maskers out there, and also for the people who believe that coronavirus is not real. To be honest, you believe that it's not real just because you go on the news, you see that there are 1 million people affected in 1 month, and you say, if there are 1 million people affected, then how come I am unaffected? Well, you are unaffected because you're being protected by God. You are being unaffected. You are not believing in the virus. You're thinking it's just some kind of an absurd statement, and all the COVID-19 sites, and no matter how shitty the government might be, it's speaking the bitter truth that you should understand and be aware of, and not think that this virus is non-existent, or that it is not dangerous, or that it is just a common flu, and that it's not a pandemic that you can die of, have a trauma, have breathing difficulties after that, and many, many other things, losing muscle or mass. And if that sounds too bad, you can simply just get rid of all the lung trauma, get rid of all the breathing difficulties, get rid of all the anesthesias, painkillers, simply by just going 6 feet below the earth into your own grave. You can die from this virus. Look, I'm gonna say it for the third time. I am not here to scare you. And you anti-maskers, you may not believe the virus exists. But yeah, to be honest, it looks like it doesn't exist. You go out walking, touching everything, hanging out with people, and nothing happens. You are unaffected until one day a misfortunate coincidence happens and you get the virus. You get your results and you see that you are positive. Now, anti-maskers, now will you believe that the virus is real? So, my message to you is believe in the virus so that you don't have to get the proof afterwards. Believe in the virus so that you don't have to get the proof. Believe in the virus so then you don't get it afterwards, because that's going to be the best proof you are ever going to get that the virus exists, by you getting sick by it. And by when your results say that you are positive, then you really would know that it's real. But you don't have to wait for that moment. You just have to change your mental mindset. Put your anti-mask protest down and put your mask on your face and believe that this virus is real. Do not get scared of it, just be aware of it. Respect the rules, stay optimistic, stay cool, stay happy, but also live healthy. Because no matter how healthy you might be, no matter how strong you might be, no matter how happy you might be, all it takes is for the virus to get inside your body and ruin your life. It will either put you 6 feet below the earth, or it will either leave you dislocated. What do I mean by that? It will leave you with all kinds of traumas, breathing difficulties afterwards, many others, as I said, losing muscular mass. And be aware that if your elders, people over there 60, 50, or have any problems, especially if they have heart problems or asthma or any problems with the brain, with the pancreas, excretory system, respiratory system, cardiovascular system, nervous system, bone system, muscular system, the chance of them surviving is super duper low. There is no chance they're going to survive. Or even if they're going to survive, their breathing difficulties, they will lose much more muscular mass, they will have harder breathing difficulties, and their life will eventually get ruined even though they will be breathing. I hope you understand by what I mean here. I hope you don't hate me for saying this message, which apparently is a true message. You can dislike this video if you want, but promise me that you will put your mask on, be aware of the virus, and believe it exists until you get the proof that it exists by it making you positive to it and by you being exposed to it. Thanks for understanding. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me. And I will see you in the next video in the foreseeable future. Goodbye. Stay safe and be aware of COVID-19. And do not be an anti-masker. Peace out. Pausing the recording right now.